I'd like to go ahead and call our meeting back to order. We recessed Tuesday, and Becky, if you could show that everyone is in attendance that was here on Tuesday. When we left here Tuesday, the plan, as I understood it, was that the rescue squad was going to meet on Wednesday and come up with a plan. The city staff would then go over the plan, formulate option, and present council with a viable plan going forward. Is that kind of where we're at?
Correct, Mayor.
I appreciate all you volunteers that are here today. I appreciate what you do. I talked to Greg for a good while this afternoon about some things that we didn't get here overnight. This is something that's happened over a period of time. And, one of the things Greg and I talked about was, the Covington population is about half of what it was back in the 60s. And on top of that, with the new demographics that we have in our community, we have a lot of elderly people, we have a lot of single parent homes, and we have a shortage of volunteers. So it's understandable that we have a problem finding enough people to cover a full schedule every week. I think that the reason we're here today is to try to find a plan that we can move forward with. I hope that everybody has the same agenda, in that we want to do the best we can to serve the citizens of Covington, whatever we have to do that. There will be time for comment. If you have comments, I ask that you come to the microphone, state your name, so we can make sure we get it in the record. My expectation is that everyone is respectful of each other. We don't need to have any arguing, shouting, or screaming going on. I will not hesitate to ask you to leave the room if you get out of hand. Mr. Douglas, you have a plan that you'd like to present to us?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. First of all, if you allow me to thank a few people. Been a lot of hard work this week to address this. First and foremost, I want to thank the fire department volunteers for their time and dedication for helping out. It's greatly appreciated. Second of all, I want to note the time dedication of Tim Yancey and our part-time staff and all the extra hours and time that they had put in over this week to make sure we were covered. I also want to thank all the volunteers of the rescue squad. I know this has been a very difficult week, and I know you've had some very difficult discussions, and I just want to thank you for meeting and being realistic on what you can provide to the city moving forward. I also want to thank our staff, Chief Morgan and David Bryant, for working on the numbers and what we can and can't do. And I'm particularly grateful for Chief Morgan and his expertise in public safety coming from Kalamazoo, and he probably didn't realize that was going to come in handy as quick as it has, but it is what it is. Also, I want to thank a network of local government managers and public safety officials. We've been on the telephone and conversing with a number of folks to try to provide you with some workable options for you moving forward. And then finally, I want to thank folks at the Virginia Office of EMS for their quick response and working with us on various issues. So there's been a lot of hard work and effort put in over the past several days. In looking at this issue, which we have to look in the long term, we also have to look at the immediate need. Life doesn't stop. We can have a call at any time. So we broke out our analysis into short term and long term. Short term being the next 120 days. There's no magic in that number. It's just what we chose. And how we can provide the service, provide a reliable level of service, and allow us to assess our long-term options moving forward. I cannot give you a recommended plan of action for long-term today because there's a lot of work and analysis that needs to take place. So we simply today are looking at short-term moving forward from today up in 120 days out. And we've looked at various ways that we could provide EMS services. And at this point, Staff's recommendation is to provide a combination of providers over the next 120 days. That will allow us the greatest flexibility in providing the service. It ensures a minimum level of coverage and also allows us to assess various options for the long term. What that would look like, what's being specifically proposed, and you have a calendar in front of you and a proposed budget, but it would involve utilizing AMR on a contractual basis. They're presently have a relationship with Lewis Gale Hospital. The recommendation is to utilize them on the weekend, essentially from Friday morning, Friday 7 a.m. to Monday 7 a.m. That would be, they would come in, utilize our facilities, our trucks, our supplies, etc. on those for that 72-hour period. The remainder of the week, or during the week, it would be a combination of either two paid personnel. We have, of course, our one full-time person in Mr. Yancey, and then a group of part-time. Tuesday and Thursday would be, we would solely rely on paid staff to provide that. Now that will require some additional hiring of part-time personnel, and we have been in contact with various organizations trying to quickly be able to add on some additional part-time help. But Tuesday and Thursday would be strictly paid. Monday and Wednesday will be a combination pairing a paid staffer with a volunteer. Essentially, those 24-hour periods on Monday and Wednesday. So that is essentially it in a nutshell. You have a proposed budget, and you can see for the next 120 days, above and beyond what we're providing already, the 80 hours of coverage that you included in the budget. That's not figured in there. This is above and beyond that. But with the contractual service of AMR, which by the way is at a rate of $62 an hour, I failed to note that. I want to point that out. But using additional paid part-time personnel, AMR, and our volunteers, we're looking at additional costs of $103,723. We have the funds in our budget currently to be able to move forward. What I would do if you bless this proposal moving forward, we would simply bring back to you at the May meeting a budget resolution to ensure we have the funds moving forward to the end of June. So I'm glad to answer any questions.
Council?
I got one. Is that $103,000 you mentioned, is that for that 120-day period that he mentioned? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. AMR, this is an emergency use.
This would be emergency procurement. I discussed this with the attorney. This would not be long-term. If there was any consideration of AMR long-term, we would have to go through a formal RFP process, hoping to put that up for bid from other providers. And then, if AMR would choose to bid, we would consider them like any other provider, strictly on an emergency basis. And the idea of set it to be Friday to Monday morning would be that they could start the next Friday to make sure we have our ducks in a row. We've already prepared our staff to cover this weekend with the bonus.
So Friday week.
Yes. So this schedule you have before you would essentially start Monday at 7 a.m.
So do we have it in place to cover from tomorrow? Because what we have at the fire department is only through today. What are we going to do between today and 1 week from now? Are we just continuing the?
Well, that would be with, this schedule would go in Monday.
Oh, okay,
So,
it would go in.
yes,
this coming
morning.
Monday,
So,
okay.
Yeah, so it'd be a combination of.
Okay, I got you.
This does not reflect, now, we'd certainly welcome, any additional support from the fire department. We just realize, the time burden and so forth, and we don't, we want to make sure that we have the firemen, able and willing to respond to fire calls. And we don't want to overextend the volunteer firemen. We appreciate all the work that's been done, continue everything moving forward, but the thought was, we don't want to overburden them moving forward.
Council?
I'm trying to figure out the volunteers can be used when?
Monday and Wednesday.
Mr. Hunter, they would be paired with a volunteer, so it wouldn't be 100% covered by the volunteers at any given time. It would be a volunteer paired with a paid staff.
And the plan that the volunteers came up with was taken into consideration when you made this?
Yes. They were able to provide up to 60 hours a week.
So we need a motion.
Yes.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Any discussion from council? Becky, could we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Ms. Byrne? 4. Mr. Hunter?
4.
Mr. Tucker?
4.
Vice Mayor Crozier?
4.
Mayor Seibel?
4.